Namaste, everyone. Welcome back to my show with your host and your host, RJ Megha. We're back with another guest, a guest who has historical data as an author, historical wisdom, and a lot to share with you all. I'll give you a small, quick introduction about him, and his detailed introduction is under my YouTube link. This individual has India's top selling best author with about 20 books on Chanakya, including Corporate Chanakya. He is the founder of Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies and offers the world's first postgraduate program in leadership science. As a leadership and strategy advisor, he's worked with 500 organizations or even more, including the top corporations and our Indian military system. With numerous national and international awards, he is dedicated to integrating ancient Indian wisdom into modern leadership practices and has lectured globally at prestigious institutions. If you are curious as me and want to know more about Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, stay tuned. Let's welcome him together on my show, Dharma. Namaste, Radhakrishnan ji, and welcome to my show. How are you?
Very fine. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be part of your show.
Thank you, Mr. Pillai. I think it's my honor. And as we spoke, I am more nervous than you because it's an honor to interview you.
Thank you.
Mr. Pillai, let's start with understanding why are you called as Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai?
Because of my PhD. So I've been interested in Chanakya for many years now. And in the journey of reading Chanakya, studying Chanakya, I completed a formal education in Arthashastra. I did my MA in Sanskrit and a PhD. And been very fortunate that I'm also a gold medalist. And my PhD guide, Dr. Shubhada Joshi Madam, she said, two tags will give you a lot of respect in your life. So one is doctor and the second is professor. So I've been very fortunate that I don't use much of professor except for the academic circles that I'm involved in. But otherwise, it's quite a popular name, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. But in most of the books, it's still Radhakrishnan Pillai.
Fantastic. So are you saying anybody who aspires to become an author should be a doctor?
Not necessarily, but if you are a researcher, if you have an academic bent of mind, that definitely helps. Because a PhD in any university across the globe is considered one of the highest achievements. And my suggestion to all researchers is that if you can do your PhD in your respective subject, your mindset changes. So for me, that doctorate was not just about a doctoral degree, but also a mindset change of being a researcher and a person who can bring back ancient Indian wisdom to a modern day application.
Wow. Um, Mr. Pillai, you're a Sanatani, clearly. Can you tell us more about how Sanatan Dharma has been talked about in either of the books of Chanakya's?
Yeah. So let me go back and say I'm a very proud Hindu. You can use the word Hindu or Sanatani. And the name Radha Krishna itself, so you're Radha and Krishna there. So let me go back and say we have to visualize the Chanakya era to understand Chanakya's philosophy. So Chanakya, there are many stories, but definitely the one common thread is that he was actually part of a great revolution that happened in India in a place then called as Pataliputra, which is modern day Patna in Bihar.
Hmm.
And this was approximately 4th century BC, which is roughly 2400 years ago. If you study that era, there were three prominent religions or philosophy that were discussed by the common man and the academic or the intellectual circles. The first was the Vedic culture, the second was the Buddhist culture, and the third was the Jain culture. So think about it like, we have different philosophies and religions. Christianity, Islam wasn't part of Indian culture then. Now, all these three basic schools of philosophy, Buddhism, Jainism, and uh, the Vedic culture, which we now call as the Sanatani culture, you will be happy to know that this was debated by all scholars and the common man. Now, Chanakya definitely represented the Vedic culture or the Sanatani culture. And the Vedic culture was something that he got as a legacy because he was born to a great Acharya himself, his father. His name was Acharya Chanak. That's how Chanakya's name came in. Chanakya Putra Chanakya. Like if you look at, Radheya, that's the name of Karna. So Karna's father, the foster father mother was Radha. So in the same way, the name Chanakya is not his original name, but it is a given name connected to his father. The original name was Vishnu Gupta. And of course, we have Kautilya also as a name. So coming back, the whole culture of Sanatana or Vedic culture has got Arthashastra as a prominent branch of study. So that is where Chanakya studied and specialized in.
Wow, that was a deep answer. I think a researcher can only answer in that capacity. That opens up a lot of questions in my mind. But I think for our listeners, Pillaji, who may not be familiar with Chanakya Neeti, could you explain its core philosophy in very simple terms?
Yeah, sure. So two words, Chanakya and Niti. We just explained who the person is, Chanakya, but the second part is more important, Niti. If you look at Sanskrit language, the word Niti has got many meanings. For example, policy, strategy, planning, approach. So all these actually means Niti. Now coming back to what Chanakya Niti is, Chanakya's strategies, Chanakya's philosophy, Chanakya's approach. And there are many approaches or philosophies and strategies of Chanakya. And the very famous one, I would quote two or three of them. Samadana Danda Bheda. So that's a very popular one. Enemy's enemy is a friend. Money pulls more money. So these are all small, small little thoughts that has been ingrained in Indian thought or Indian ethos. Now coming back, apart from this, there is a book called as Chanakyaniti. So Chanakya has written roughly 350 sutras or ideas defining his strategies of how to be successful in this world and that world. For example, how to actually be a good parent. There's a strategy for that. How to be a good spouse, husband or wife. What are the duties and responsibilities of a king? How to actually make money. At the same time, how to give up the world also. So if you look at it, 350 ideas or policies is what is generally called as Chanakya Neeti.
Amazing. All those listeners and viewers who are very much interested in learning more about Chanakya Neeti, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai himself is an author, and you can purchase his books on Amazon or hear them just like I did on Audible. Let's move on to our next question, Pillaji. So, what is the difference between Chanakya Neeti and Arthashastra, Kautilya's Arthashastra?
So first of all, Chanakya was an acharya or a teacher, as we
Ji,
call today, a professor in the University of Takshashila.
ji.
So of course was a student at Takshashila, studied and also taught at Takshashila, which is modern day Pakistan, undivided India then.
Mhm.
Later on, he came back to Patliputra, modern day Patna, where the theory was put into practice. And it is said that among various books that he wrote, the two important books are Kautilya's Arthashastra and Chanakya Neeti. What's the difference as you ask the question? So, the Arthashastra of Kautilya, written by Chanakya, is actually meant for the kings or what we call the Rajas, the governing bodies. So, it is a very, very theoretical subject, what we generally call today as public policy. There are topics more than 180 topics contained in one book that include leadership, management, governance, military strategy, law and order, uh, justice, so many topics. But remember, they are all very dry subjects. If you look at somebody who's a lawyer, he or
Yeah.
she has to study for so many years to become a lawyer or a barrister.
Right.
And it's a very technical subject. So Arthashastra is very technical in nature. It has got 6,000 sutras or formulas. That's huge. It's a big manual. Not everybody would have that keen interest and the patience and the commitment to study the whole Arthashastra. Some mad people like me do that. But he also realized that the wisdom should not be restricted only to the classes. It should be given to the masses. So Chanakya Neeti is a smaller version, and it's got, as I told you, roughly 350 sutras. So look at 6,000 sutras and 350 sutras. So the first difference is the size. The volume itself is the major difference. The second is the target audience, as we say. So everybody may not have the patience to watch the whole movie, but people still like to see the trailer, right? So those people who actually want to get a glimpse of Chanakya can start with Chanakya. So that's the second difference, the target audience. The third one, the subject matter that is covered. So in the subject that is covered, the first one talks about Rajaniti or Rajavidya.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chanakya Neeti is about Prajavidya, what a common man can do.
Mm.
Remember this, a common man is not denied Rajavidya. So if a man wants to study and become a leader, he can study Arthashastra. Yet it's your personal interest and commitment. So both the books written by Chanakya and new books have been discovered also. Some scholars say that even Panchatantra, Kama Sutra was written by the same person. I'm not sure because it was written the same era.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like saying, maybe after 1,000 years, somebody may say Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were the same people because they work in the technology field. Maybe they're different. So there are various books credited to Chanakya apart from these two, yet not sure. But these two books definitely written by Chanakya or Kautilya, who is prominently known for writing the Arthashastra.
Got it. Okay. So during his time when he wrote either Chanakya Neeti or Kautilya's Arthashastra, we all know as a fact that Acharya Chanakya was the guru for giving us our king, our leader, which was our very own person who fought with Dhananand for us. And do you think while he was training him as a guru, and I'm not going to go further in the details of the story because I'm sure the audience wants to hear it from you. Do you think he wrote it while he was training and growing his leader, his upcoming Bharatiya leader, or you think that was all together written? Like what happened? Does that talk about it?
So that's a nice question. Actually, there are different opinions about it.
Okay.
The first opinion was that Arthashastra was not the first Arthashastra written by Chanakya
Okay.
because there were 14 other Arthashastras before Chanakya, and what he wrote is Kautilya's Arthashastra.
Okay.
So let me give an example. Let us say there is a scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, now he doesn't invent science. So
Right.
let's just like an Einstein. Okay, now he did not invent physics. Physics existed before him.
Right.
He
Right.
studied, he was a student, and he had his own theory, and he wrote it down. What we today very famously know as E is equal to mc square, the
Right.
theory of relativity, etc. Now, is Einstein's contribution important? Not important, very important.
Right.
Because for the scientist or the physicist, that's a breakthrough discovery. Yet, we can't say, he's the last scientist. There were scientists before him and there are scientists after him. But every generation will build on that. So, coming back, Kautilya's Arthashastra was actually one of the Arthashastras. Chanakya studied many others before him. In fact, when you read Arthashastra, he tells this is written after studying the Purvacharyas. And the number is 14 other Arthashastras he referred to.
So you are saying that Bhishma Pitama's Arthashastra has been read by Acharya Chanakya
Yes,
before.
in fact, he quotes him also.
Okay, okay. So how did Bhishma Pitama's Arthashastra exist at that time, right? Because everything was handwritten. So I'm just wondering, how was that knowledge transferred?
See, there's a big confusion in our generation. We think
Okay,
books are knowledge.
right,
So books are format for documenting knowledge.
correct,
Yet knowledge is something which is eternal. Like law of gravity. They are natural principles. So during those days, of course, paper was not there the way we have books today, a physical book.
right,
But they used to write it in tadapatri, as we say, palm leaves.
okay,
And every generation will have new technology coming in. So from palm leaves, it became physical paper, and today we are going digital. And you never know, after many years, video format will be more popular than e format.
right, right.
So I think during those days, Bhishmacharya taught Rajaniti or Arthashastra in the battlefield, a very famous part of Mahabharata when he's in the Sharashaya or the bed of arrows. Now, please understand the documentation, the actual physical writing was done by Lord Ganesha, Ganapati. And it is Veda Vyasa who downloaded that knowledge and it. So the writing part is one part, but Chanakya also in his generation wrote it in palm leaves. And fortunately, that palm leaves is available even today in the Mysore University.
Wow. The original scripture you're stating.
Original, original. In fact, it has been credited, or I would say, authorized by the Department of, I think, Archaeology Department of India, Government of India, where this is the original Arthashastra, and you can still find it in the Mysore University. Anybody who is a fan of Chanakya can go there. Oriental Research Institute in the Mysore University Library, it is still there.
Amazing. Only a researcher like you can know this information and give it to the masses, huh? It's a fantastic how you brought this up.
Thank
Really.
you.
Um, okay. So sounds like his life has not been easy. Acharya Chanakya himself must have seen a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures, a lot of successes, but also failures. Um, do you think, how did he come out of those failures and how did he work through his ways? And how can we in today's generation use that to deal with our failures?
Yeah. So first of all, every generation will have his their own challenges.
Right.
So there is no generation which is saying that I'm problem free. Every generation will be different. So today we find mental health issues growing a lot.
Right.
So there was a generation maybe when we go back to our parents or grandparents generation, their major struggle was roti kapda makan,
Right.
basic survival. I think today we have more problems like obesity. So we are overeating rather than right eating. So today, if you look at it, I don't think it's a major problem of survival. But today we are looking at mental health issues, to the challenges of a new social order.
Hmm.
It's global politics. So every generation will change, and it will have different challenges. Coming back to Chanakya's generation, okay, he had a different challenge, and one challenge which is common in all generations is leadership. So I think whether it's India or America or any country, this one question everybody is asking is that, is the leader on the top correct? And when I say leader, it doesn't mean only a political leader. So of course, political leader makes the highest difference. That's what Bhishmacharya says, Raja Kalasya Karanam. So as the leaders for the organization. But if you look at other leaders, maybe a principal of a school is also a leader.
Yes.
When you're living in a society or an apartment or a complex, there also you are a chairman, a business leader, even today spiritual leaders. If he or she is right, the whole organization is right.
Right.
So Chanakya's biggest struggle was that this king called Dhananand, who was the king of Magad, which is modern day Bihar, okay, was not a great king, and we had a common problem then. Alexander came to attack India.
Right.
We had to solve the problem. So this book Arthashastra was about the theories written to not only defeat an enemy but also create good leaders and good governance.
Got it. So when they, so that was, where was his failure in that journey while he was training or writing the book?
Yeah. So first of all, there were two challenges. The challenges of survival, because Chanakya's father created a public awakening and he was under threat by Dhananand. So Chanakya had to flee, he had to run away, and he went to Takshashila to study. So first challenge he faced was his physical survival. And I think most of us today, if we don't have food to eat, will not be happy.
Right.
So I think our generation will actually understand that it's important to have basic survival. And
Yes.
how does one have basic survival? Three things, as we call today, roti, kapda, makan. So Chanakya ensured that everybody has got food to eat. Annam, Brahma.
Yeah.
Very important that before you talk about God, you talk about food. And food is also God.
Yeah.
As you say in Marathi, agodar potoba, nantar vitoba.
Vitoba. Very true.
But that is also not enough. Suppose you have a stomach which is full, but your mind is empty. So the second challenge is knowledge. And that's where India as a nation has been focused on knowledge. Saying, okay, your stomach is full, you have basic security, but what about knowledge? So Chanakya created knowledge systems. And his struggle was nobody appreciated knowledgeable people. Because during those days, the power game was very different. A lot of people in power think I am the most powerful. Actually, the Raja se bada Rajguru hai, as they say. The king is powerful? No, the kingmaker is more powerful. And the people with knowledge can create many kings or leaders. So that was the second struggle. The third struggle, which probably is very important in our generation, is spiritual evolvement. Just because you are economically doing well, which is the basic factor, we need to have economic, I would say, prosperity for everybody. But what about adhyatmic prosperity or spiritual prosperity? So Chanakya saw that this great country where Rishi, Munis, and gods have walked actually has become so downgraded that today we are not even having any spiritual culture. So the third struggle that Chanakya had was basically trying to revive what you said, the Sanatani culture, which is actually the spiritual culture. So his struggles were there, but he documented everything and gave solutions also for that.
For each one of these.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how does, did he become successful at any of these?
He became successful in all of them. So at the physical level, India became the richest country in the world. So I think
Could
it's
you,
very, so as we say, Bharat Sone ki chidiya thi. So he was responsible for that. As we say, it's important to know that, he was the father of Indian economics. So he solved that. Second, he solved the problem of leadership. So definitely, Alexander was defeated. He went away, but he created leaders like, right from Chandragupta Maurya till Ashoka, and many leaders after that in India followed his policies, including Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and many others. So even in South, when we see, we have a lot of Chanakya applications. So he solved the problem of economics, leadership, and definitely it became a knowledge culture where the Vedic culture or the Sanatani culture was once again revived, and he became the torchbearer of a great revolution, a positive revolution called spiritual revolution.
amazing. And in his journey of spiritual revolution, Pillaji, does he anywhere mention meditation or Kundalini being Jagrot? And the reason I'm going to this topic is because you just mentioned mental health issues or the challenges that today we face. Did he talk about that?
Absolutely. In fact, Chanakya was first a guru and a philosopher. And he mentions about yoga more than 150 times in Arthashastra. So that's the kind of approach he had towards yoga. Of course, dhyan, which we called one part of yoga, meditation was also included. In fact, the leader that he created, ideal one, is called as Raja Rishi, as we called one of the great names for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, was Srimanta Yogi.
Yeah.
Srimanta means prosperous. So Raja is a very prosperous person. He's got a lot of power around him, a lot of prosperity around him. Yet he's also a rishi, so yogi. And the building of a great leader or a Raja Rishi starts with spiritual culture. And there are two concepts. One is dhyan, which you mentioned. We should be meditating. But the other one is called control over the senses, all. Indriya Jaya, Indriyo pe Vijay. If we don't control our senses, if we don't control ourselves, then even in power we'll be more corrupted.
Wow. Do you practice that, Pillaji?
I do. I'm fortunate because I was born to a father who was a yogi. Physically, is no more there, but he was my first spiritual guru, my first meditation guru. And my father was a meditation teacher also. So I became his sishya. And you'll be surprised, he used to meditate for more than 10 hours a day. And you don't have to teach, you have to just watch him. So, watching him meditate. I've been doing that for the last 40 years in my life.
Wow. It's ingrained in you.
Yeah, genetically blessed.
I think I'm going to go back to your father's topic. I'm sorry for your loss, first of all, but uh, how did you cope with it? You seem yourself as a meditator. You've been trained by him, and also the detachment part. Was it hard on you, or did
Not, yeah, please continue.
no? I was just going to say, does Chanakya Neeti help in that aspect of detachment as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two type of detachments. One is worldly detachment. The world, we get involved so much, but we have to be detached. The Bhagavad Gita speaks about it. But the second one is spiritual detachment. Now you'll be surprised. People get attached spiritually also. What is spiritual attachment? Yeah.
That's a
Lot
new
of
concept,
Yeah. So let me explain, let us say I have this particular iPhone or I have this watch, probably, and it's very natural that I will get attached to this,
right?
right? And spirituality teaches us, saying that don't get attached to the worldly objects. But do you know one thing? You'll be surprised, we get attached to spiritual concepts also. My guru is better than your guru. My God is better than your God. That is also attachment. And you'll be surprised, spirituality, my father used to teach me, don't get attached to any guru also. Love your guru, follow your guru, but there comes a time when you have to let go. That also. So let me give an example in Indian culture, be it US or India, anywhere you go today, we have a lot of Ganesh festival, Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
10 days, a major festival from Maharashtra now across the globe, or even in Durga Puja. Final day, you actually have an immersion, Visarjan as we call in Marathi. Now think about it, the same idol which you worship, which you love for 9, 10 days, last day you have to let go. But that's important because the form is important in the beginning. But later on, you have to go to the formless. Otherwise, a lot of problems start. So, yes, we need to detach from the world and attach to spirituality, but at one point, you need to detach from spiritual practices also. And only your guru will tell you when to do that. So it's very important. Chanakya actually cultivated, yeah, there is a power, there's a position, don't get attached. But there comes a time you need to leave the power position not only for the world so that a new Raja comes, but also you should let go. In fact, one of the Chanakya Neeti says, For the sake of the village, give up your family. And for the sake of the country, give up the village. And for the sake of God, give up the world also.
Hmm.
It's very important to detach at every level. And that's what they say the highest achievement will come from Tyaga. Tyage Naike Amrtatva Manashu. So for Amrtatva, everybody is going to Kumbh Mela now. I also went. So in Kumbh Mela, it is not just about the bath, it's also Tyag. So as they say Gita, if you reverse it, Gita Tyagi. So finally, we should know that the power game never ends. See, I've seen a lot of politicians. So from a corporator, they want to become a MLA. From MLA MP, from MLA MP to maybe a PM and a president. This game doesn't end. And even if you become a president, you have to be the most powerful man in the world or a woman in the world. But Chanakya says no. The power game is unstoppable. So better stop, do your duty, do your karma, but go on to the next goal in life, which is moksha. Chanakya speaks about all these in the Arthashastra.
So when you say the tyag part or the give up part, you have also written a book for how to make money, how to become a millionaire, how to attract money, prosperity. How does he talk both about making it but also being so detached to it? How does both work?
That is where the spiritual foundation is important
Okay,
because making money is an important requirement of this world.
right.
And especially when you are a grahastha, suppose you are a family person, man or woman, you require money. So the Sanskrit word is vyavahara. In the worldly transactions, you require money,
Mm.
and there is nothing wrong. So that is why Chanakya wrote the Arthashastra.
Mm.
But remember one thing: first dharma, then artha. Money in the hands of the wrong person can be destructive, and money in the hands of the right person can be productive. So if you look at it, we require a lot of rich people, but rich people with lot of values, morality, and ethics. Money in the hands of the wrong people is not good. It's like, money by itself is very neutral, yet the person who uses it. For example, knife in the hands of a surgeon can save a life, and the same knife in the hands of a criminal can actually murder a lot of people.
Right. Right.
Money is a tool, and by the way, let me tell you, it's not easy to make money. In one way, people say it's easy to make money. यहाँ से माल लो वहाँ बेचो. So it's trading.
Right.
So you take for 10 rupees and you sell for 20 rupees. That's money making. No, that's not money making. That is trading. So you buy and sell. And that's what happens with a lot of trading platforms to traders. But what we are talking about is called wealth creation, value creation. So, for example, you take up an idea, you become a startup person, you incubate, you make a product or a service. It's a lot of hard work. And after making money, you also create jobs, you give taxes to the government, and the extra money that you have, you give to the society for the community. So I think it's a big science. And as you said, the book that I wrote, Chanakya and the Art of Getting Rich, very important. So India was the richest country in the world. And the other side of the coin, we are also the most spiritually advanced along with money. So we should have both. As we say, dono haath mein laddu. So let's have money also and detachment to money also.
Amazing. I don't think any video will talk about both aspects of things. You beautifully have summoned it together. It was amazing. Um, what do you think is the most significant challenge people face when they try to apply Chanakya Neeti in their lives today?
They confuse between strategy and manipulation.
Mm.
So a lot of people think Chanakya is a manipulator. I still remember in my early stages, 25 years ago, when I started studying Chanakya, the same words, Samadana, Danda, Veda, all these things were like, oh, I know Chanakya Neeti. What do you know about Chanakya Neeti? घी सीधी उंगली से नहीं निकला तो टेढ़ी उंगली से निकाला. So this is not Chanakya Neeti. This is manipulation.
Kutni.
Chanakya, yeah. So
That
Chanakya talks about strategy. Yeah, you are saying something.
I was saying that is Kutniti.
Hmm. So the thing is that people have misunderstood Chanakya more than understanding Chanakya, and that's where study and research comes in. A lot of people read and quote. In fact, many of them misquote Chanakya. I'll tell you a small incident. When I was teaching Chanakya in the initial stages, I actually, started feeling the pain that people don't understand such a great scholar, such a great economist. He's a rishi. Indian culture cannot be complete without Chanakya. But
Wow.
all the images on the internet were very, very bad. They were showing him as a crook person, a person who's a crook, a manipulator. So it was not giving positive vibes. So I mentioned in one of my classes saying that we should have a good image of Chanakya. Can you believe what happened? One of my students is a rich businessman, so I have got all category of students. So he said, sir, I want to do a seva towards your project. I said, okay, what seva can you give? Guru Dakshina. What Guru Dakshina I want to give? Saying that I have a artist, I will give him the concept of Chanakya and he will create a new painting and new image of Chanakya. I said, okay, that's good. And believe me, he appointed a painter, paid him, and the image that has come out is so positive. I'll pass on that image and the picture to you so you can
Please.
use it for yours. And now it's very popular on the internet. And it is copyright free. So you can use it. Because this is the first challenge I face, saying that Chanakya cannot be degraded to a level of manipulation. Chanakya has to be upgraded to strategy and spirituality. Fortunately, thanks to supporters like you, today the image of Chanakya is not negative or Kutaniti. It's actually Rajaniti and Rajavidya and Brahma Vidya also.
I don't think it is thanks to us. I think it's thanks to leaders like you that Acharya Chanakya ji has created by you being so interested and so passionate about him. Even when you talk and share about his work, you have so much passion and conviction. How many years have you put into this, Pillai ji?
So I would say thanks to my father, I've been in the journey for almost 40 years, but formally study and all the research and PhD and everything, book writing and everything, maybe 25 years.
Wow. I'm sure there's a lot more coming from you. I think you're a very passionate man. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and go to a very famous word in a lot of times mentioned while I was reading your book called Anvikshiki. Could you explain what that means and why is it the science of strategic thinking?
You have touched the deepest part of my heart. I'll tell you, first time when I read the Arthashastra, it starts with the first topic called as Anvikshiki Sthapana. Like we have Ganapati Sthapana.
Mm,
During the 10 days of Ganesh festival, the first day is Ganpati Sthapana and the last day is Ganpati Visarjan. So Sthapana means establishing.
mm,
So Arthashastra's first chapter is called as Anvikshiki Sthapana. What does it mean? Actually, it meant a leader has to be trained in Anvikshiki. What is Anvikshiki? Strategic thinking. There are a lot of meanings. One of them is philosophy. I have given the meaning of strategic thinking. It also means observation, investigation, philosophy. In fact, I was doing a lot of research, and in Pune, I came to an institution where they have more than 1,000 meanings of Anvikshiki. 1,000. So it is not a common word. It is
mm.
there in Indian scriptures, but I had heard it for the first time. In fact, technically, this generation lost the word Anvikshiki. Later on, I found it is also a spiritual word. It is called Brahma Vidya. It is also the name of Draupadi in Mahabharata. In fact, Sri Krishna calls Draupadi as Anvikshiki. So I said, wow, what a word. So immediately, my life's mission say I cannot popularize Chanakya. I will do that. But at least I'll popularize one word called Anvikshiki. So you can see this CA here. CA is Chanakya Anvikshiki, which is the name of my company. Interestingly, Interestingly, my daughter's name is also Anvikshiki. So you can
Wow.
see the passion.
Amazing. Tell us more, please. I'm sure my audience is loving this conversation.
In fact, today morning when I was having breakfast with my family, and my wife was telling my daughter, saying that, see what a name your father has given you. Anvikshiki, very different. So when she was small, now she's a teenager. Okay, I named her. And like most of us, we don't have a choice when we
Yeah.
get our names by our parents. So that's
Mm.
decided by them. But I told her as she grew up, saying that if at all you don't like your name because very different and you have to pronounce, many people can't even pronounce Anvikshiki.
Yeah.
I actually had to make people practice it when I had the naming ceremony. So I told her when she was growing, saying that if at all you want to change your name, you are free to do that. But now she tells me, no, 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 it's a unique name and I stand out in the crowd. In fact, one day she came from school and she was very upset. Otherwise, what happened? Saying that one of her friends, classmates, actually named her younger sister as Anvikshiki. So she said, I lost my uniqueness. I thought I'm the only person in this generation with that name. So, yes, it's a very emotional word for me because my whole life is dedicated to Chanakya. And for any father, the daughter has got that special place in the heart. But let me tell you, it is a very common word. It's a very common word. For example, even my book I've written. In the government of India, we have an investigative department called CBI,
Mm.
Central Bureau of Investigation. CBI, like we have FBI
Right.
in USA, and CBI. If you translate that into Hindi, it is called Kendriya Anvikshan Bureau. So Anvikshan is research, enquiry. So a leader should have the quality of research and enquiry. It is a science of thinking correctly. If you're not thinking, you cannot be a great leader. That's what Chanakya speaks about. So it's a whole science, it's a big subject, and without Anvikshiki, whatever project you take up, whatever project, you are bound to fail. But if you study Anvikshiki, you cannot fail in any project that you take up.
Wow. So you just gave out a secret to my listeners, huh? You study Anvikshaki and you're going to have success. Could you give me one quick insight about how can one become a strategic thinker?
So Chanakya itself tells this. The first one is study. So, whichever subject you want to become a strategic thinker, you have to actually study a lot. And but I will go to one step further, become a researcher. And today, studying doesn't mean only academic studies. Of course, that's one thing if you can enroll in a course and all. But today, you have a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of online courses. So, first step is study. The second method is association with experts. Please understand, only book reading doesn't make you intelligent. When there are questions, you need to have a conversation. So if you want to master any field, get a master of that field. So today we have master classes, right? So you should have a discussion. So that's the second step. Third, very important, how do you become a strategic thinker? Apply what you have studied and understood. So a lot of people gather degrees like
Hmm.
PhD, but what have you done with that? You should be able to apply it, practice it. Maybe first time when you practice you may not succeed, but you refine it, you make the project better, you make it better, and finally you become the expert. So three steps: study, get guidance from experts, and third is practice that knowledge that you have acquired, and then you will master the subject of Anvikshiki.
Got it. Thank you. I think that was very helpful and very clear. Thank you for that. Um, I'll switch gears to a lot of today's challenges. I'm coming to your book, Corporate Chanakya, now, which is also one of my other favorite books, by the way. You write beautifully. In today's world of fast technology, social media, and changing values, and what do you think is the most important lesson we can take from Chanakya's teachings? And how do you talk more about this in your book, Corporate Chanakya?
So there are two things. The book Corporate Chanakya have been written to simplify the Arthashastra for business application. I've been a businessman. I have a company called Atma Darshan, which is into spiritual tourism. So I take a lot of people from abroad to come to India and take them around, a lot of spiritual places. So I had an orientation of studying business. I'm an MBA before my MA in Sanskrit now. So the book Corporate Chanakya was to guide people to apply Chanakya in the business world. Now
Okay.
coming back, it's very important that we actually practice Chanakya by applying this with the help of the guidance of people. So in the book Corporate Chanakya, I have taken simple ideas. Like for example, how to conduct an interview. Business leaders have to build their team. How to apply for a job. Initial stages, you attend the interview. Later on, you conduct an interview. How to make money. In fact, it's a very deep topic. How to, even pay taxes on time. That is something Chanakya spoke about. So it's a huge book, 175 chapters, and the best part is that every chapter can be read in 1 minute. Today is an instant generation. So your question, how do you apply in our generation? Today is a fast-paced generation. So I write in a very simple way that even the busiest person, the chairman of a company, to the common man can read and understand. So that's my style of writing.
Oh, for sure. I would totally agree to that. I can relate when I read your books. Um, okay. So, how do you think Chanakya? Well, he had a strong understanding of economics and strategy, right? What aspects of Chanakya Neeti do you think we can directly apply to entrepreneurship and modern business practices today, but taking economics and strategy from his Arthashastra?
So the first economics, the basic economics is when the last man is provided basic necessities,
Correct.
food, clothing, shelter, job, etc. So you cannot have macroeconomics where the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. So we need to have sure the first thing Chanakya did was he established a system of economics where everybody was actually rich. In fact, Chanakya's model was actually making rich villages, not rich cities. I don't know if you remember this very famous statement of Mahatma Gandhi. It said, India lives in villages.
Hmm.
Even today, there are more than 6 lakh villages. The exact number is 6.6 villages, 6.6 lakh villages. And during Chanakya's time, he created a model where every villager, every woman had enough gold. So if you go back to our Dadima, Nanima generation, imagine that we had a sonar or a goldsmith in every village of this country. How rich the country must have been.
Was it through the barter system?
So barter system is only a transactional model. So today, when you look at it, your transactional method is now digital, but barter is only one way where you trust the other guy.
Right.
But over a period of a time, the economics have changed. Barter system may not be a perfect system.
Right.
For example, let's take a unit of measurement. I am producing gold, and you are producing cotton. Cotton. Now, if I got 1 kilo of gold, okay, and I give you 1 kilo of gold, and you give me 1 kilo of cotton, will that be good? No, the values are different. So the game of valuation changes. Of course, in certain parameters it's fine. Barter system is good, but as you go higher and higher, it may not be the perfect system. But still, in human relation, barter system is very good. But from valuation perspective, we need to take a different model. So coming back, India's economic model was three level created by Chanakya. One is called village economics, second is called family economics, and the third is called temple economics. India's biggest strength was temple economics. So it's not only your Tirupati but also your Padmanabha Swami Kshetra. So the village had a temple. Every villager used to take off each other as a social system, and the economics Chanakya suggested was family economics. We should take care of each other. Today we are becoming a nuclear family.
Yeah.
But the joint family system is something that he promoted. So huge economic model, yet something that made India the richest country in the world.
Do you think or would you comment on where today Bharat is going? Do you think Modi ji utilizes Chanakya Neeti?
He often quotes him also.
Okay,
In fact, I've been very fortunate to work on lot of projects. So when I say projects, I don't mean only the person or the prime minister. I work with lot of projects of the government of India.
okay.
So definitely, I've been very fortunate that look at the education sector. So I've been little responsible for introducing Chanakya in the mainstream education system. In fact, International Yoga Day, I was the main convener for that. So in fact, I traveled to US, all the United Nations that we speak about, getting it sanctioned and all. So I had a small part to play from an academic perspective. Definitely, I train the military and the foreign policy, lot of things. I train IAS officers, IPS officers. So I've been very fortunate, to work with the government and definitely with the PMO also. Yet, I'm a very small person in the huge gamut, but I've been very fortunate to contribute to nation building.
That's what a humble leader like you would say. Your books have brought Chanakya Neeti to a very global audience, right? I mean, all of us have used it all over the world. What kind of impact have you seen on your readers and listeners over the years?
I've been very blessed. Impact has been huge. I can only give you a few examples.
Please.
I remember a mother calling me up, mother, and saying, "You may not know me, but I want to thank you." I said, "Why?" My son was attempting suicide yesterday, and he read your book and he stopped. He wrote in a note, he had actually prepared the suicide note. But then, I don't know, before attempting suicide, he read your book. I think it was Corporate Chanakya. And in that, somewhere I've written, come what may, whatever be your struggle, you should never give up your life. I don't know why he only read that line. But next day morning, the mother discovered he had attempted suicide. He was going to attend, he did not attempt. He called me up and said, thank you so much. Now, that's one major impact. I can tell you during the COVID times, okay, a lot of people wanted to shut down the business.
Yeah.
But they said, no, 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 no. Radhakrishnan Pillai says, that you should not. So I know people who actually want to shut down, but somewhere, the pep talk and videos like this, the training programs, I just do a lot of work. And they come back to me and tell, we had 100 people during COVID times and used to wonder how to pay salaries. Thanks to you, today we have 400 people and we are a profitable company.
Wow. That I mean, do you feel you've achieved your dharma goals? Like, do you feel you've achieved it?
So I'll tell you something, the typical American style of to-do list, making a
Please.
so bucket list. So I remember when I was in my college days, I used to read all these, motivational books.
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie, Art of What I Think Can Grow Rich, all those books, Stephen Covey's Seven Habits. So I
Yeah.
had made it to-do list, bucket list of what I should achieve in life. So I had a list of almost 21 items. You will be surprised after many years, very recently, I was cleaning up my cupboard and I found that list. Can you believe all of them are tick?
Wow.
For example, it is better than what I wrote. For example, I should write a book, a college student writing a book. Now I've written 24 best selling books. I said, I should have very high education. Now I have a PhD and I guide PhD students. So I'm a PhD guide also. So think about it. My life has been super fulfilling. Now sometimes I wonder what should be my next goal. I said, chodo yaar, enjoy the flow.
And that's actually one of my next questions is what's coming next for you?
Enjoy the flow.
Really? So you're not a planner, you're not a strategic thinker where strategically you've planned what's coming your way?
So I'll tell you something. One of my favorite authors is Jim Collins. And he was a strategy person. He used to help a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And he had a very famous quote, because he used to help people build business plans, which I do. So he said, if you want to make God laugh at you, show him your perfect business plan. He may have a better plan for you. So we all have this, limited version. This is my best version of life. And then we have the law of manifestation, right? Law of attraction. But
Yeah.
let me tell you, law of attraction also has a limit. So you can imagine you will become X to 10X or 100X. But God may have unlimited X for you. So the idea is that in spiritual path there is no limits. And you'll be surprised if you become his instrument. As Bhagavad Gita says, nimitta matrena, become an instrument, let him do whatever he wants. Believe me, I never thought I will write one book. Of course, I had a goal of writing one book. But imagine I've written so many books, I do workshops on writing books. And the best authors in India come to me and say, can you tell us tips? So I'm an academician at one level. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a businessman. I train spiritual gurus also. Now, this is one important point. How many people can train the army at one level, politicians at one level? And can you believe I actually are invited by great spiritual organizations and they tell, please train our monks on Chanakya. और क्या चाहिए? So I
Wow.
train the gurus. I don't think we have such a beautiful life, right? So I think the best thing is be thankful and be humble. The only attitude that I have is the attitude of gratitude.
Wow. You're very inspirational. I think at your level, and now I still have to ask you after listening to everything you do, how do you manage your time?
See, I'll tell you something I realized many years ago, long back, that time is not what you see on the watch. It's a wrong notion. Okay, it's a very wrong notion. Very wrong notion. In fact, I do workshops on time management. Okay. So when you say time, the first thing is this watch, and everybody has got 24 hours. Correct? That's a
Correct.
general. No. In fact, time is a mindset.
Hmm.
Okay. And time is spiritual. In fact, in India, we have given time as something created by God. You remember that serial Mahabharat, Main Samay Hoon?
Yeah.
In fact, Lord Shiva, my favorite Lord, is my Ishta Devta. One of his name is Kala Bhairav.
Wow.
Kal. So Kalatit. So how do I plan my time? Of course, I have to be at 9:30. I have to be at 9:30. That's a very clock-driven calculation. But tell me one thing: can you do multiple things at the same time?
Yeah.
Does a mother do that? Does
Oh,
a wife do that?
yeah.
Are you not doing it?
Yes.
Yeah. So the fact that you can be doing one thing at one time is a very focused approach. Yes, that's also good. Scheduling, making a plan, all those things. But look at the life of great masters. In one lifetime, they could do multiple things. For example, Swami Vivekananda. Okay, he built the Ramakrishna mission. He wrote so many, poetries. He was a musician, great orator, speaker, institutional builder, and his lifespan 39 years. Gone. Adi Shankaracharya, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, building the Maratha Empire when there was no travel communication like our generation. As they attack to Katak. I mean, these are not time managers. So when you have a purpose in life and a vision in life, everything falls into place. Now you'll be surprised after 24 books, I'm writing four more books on Chanakya simultaneously.
What are
I
the
run, I write. This writing is one part of it. I'm on the board of at least 7 universities, and you'll be surprised. Apart from that, I give lectures. I run YouTube channels. I'm an influencer. I'm an academician. And the best part is that when I go home, I'm absolutely normal. So a lot of time in the world for my family also. So the summarization of everything is that time is not just about time management. Yes, that's only one part of it. If you have a purpose and if you have a large heart, believe me, you can do multiple things. In fact, I met so many great people. My own spiritual guru, Swami Chinmayanji, Chinmaya Mission, in one lifetime created 300 organizations, temples across the globe. I think we have a Chinmaya Mission center in Houston also.
yes.
But you have one in Australia, you have one in South Africa. So I said, if I have seen people like that. So it is not limiting to 24 hours. One lifetime, do everything. You should have that vision and mission in life. This is the last birth. जो करना है सब अभी करो. And believe me, if you have God as your partner in this journey of life, nothing is impossible.
So, do you ever feel you're not the one doing this?
Every time. So there is an energy flow that happens, and I definitely believe that you should become more empty within. The biggest problem for success in life is ego. And then the ego disappears, God takes over. And when God takes over your work, remember it's not your work, it's His work. So definitely I've been blessed by a lot of spiritual gurus, teachers, parents, of course, and good friends like you. So life is nothing but a blessing for doing good work for others.
How do you stay so grounded?
So I'm very clear on this. You started with the Sanatani culture. The Sanatani culture tells this, you never take off. So people who take off have a problem of being grounded. I'm always grounded. Because, and the way to get yourself grounded is actually satsang. Even today, can you believe I attend classes every Sunday as a student? So maybe 6 days a week I take a class, but one day a week I attend a class. So the way to get grounded is be a student forever. So always appoint my teachers. If you have a teacher, you better listen to his or her punishments also.
Have you gotten one?
Many, in fact, I don't believe in one teacher. Of course, I have one spiritual guru, Swami Tejumanji from Chinmaya Mission. Yet, I'm telling you, I still keep learning. For example, I'm learning AI now. I'm attending courses on artificial intelligence. Can you believe I'm learning a very interesting subject of Chanakya? It is called the art of interrogation. eh? Because I train the police, so I need to be updated. So I'm a student also at every one point. I'm a teacher also at one point. So I can balance it. And all of us can do that if you have the will and the strategy of Chanakya.
Wow. And in the last, I think before we wrap up, Pillaiji, I know you've got certain things to attend to. What is one thing you will say that my listeners should take today home?
Welcome to the path of spirituality.
Okay.
Good. And because see, what happens is that people think spiritual life is something different, and your worldly life, your professional life is something different. Work life balance, nothing. We are the same person. Ask a mother if she's working, she's thinking about a child. If she's a full time mother, she's thinking about a work from home. So I think we should stop dividing our life into compartments. Okay, of course, from planning perspective, you have to spend time with family, with the office. All this is fine, but remember, wherever you go, you are the same person. And therefore, Chanakya actually taught me this one thing: you have to be worldly wise but spiritually grounded. Worldly wise but spiritually grounded. Make lot of success in the worldly affairs, but at one point you should know that everything is impermanent. The only permanent factor in life, or the only permanent partner in life, is God. Have faith in Him, He will make sure that you succeed in life.
Wow. Uh, After this fantastic conversation, Pillaiji, I don't know how to thank you enough, but I'm sure my viewers are going to want to watch you more and learn more about you and learn more about your teachings. I believe you do have a YouTube page about yourself. Would you share more about that, please?
Sure, I'll do that. So
Amazing.
it's Radhakrishnan Pillai, simple YouTube channel. So you can go there, and there's some other links. I take a lot of classes also, which is available online free of cost. I'll share all the links with you.
Fantastic. Thank you for this incredible wisdom, Pillaiji. I think you've shared a whole life of journey, but also a lot about your learnings, your teachings, how you stay grounded. It was incredibly amazing for me. I think I became a student today, and I loved taking everything you had to give. You're a fantastic giver. Please know that.
And you're a wonderful host. Thank you so much for this wonderful question. Nobody has asked me all these questions in the past.
Thank you, Pillaiji. I think it's my pleasure, but also my honor that I've gotten to speak with you. Once again, Jai Shri Ram, please doing amazing work as you are doing. Hope and pray for us as well that today's youth will follow this pathway as you are on.
Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, Jai Shri Ram.
What's the use of a very good looking and beautiful flower if it does not have any fragrance? That fragrance is education. Lesson number 1, educate yourself. This is the first and one of the most important sutra from the book Chanakya Neeti. Education today is transforming yourself. You may be smart, but are you relevant? Are you updated? Are you changing the way you work based on how the world is evolving? 10 years ago, business was about profit. Today, it is about valuation. Have you changed your thinking to suit the new pattern? Have you educated yourself? Lesson number 2, your superpower. This is the second sutra from the book that is very close to me. Every person is a superhero और हर superhero का एक superpower होता है. What is your superpower? That one thing that you're very good at. A teacher's superpower is knowledge. A king's superpower is his army. A businessman's superpower is money. And a working class person's superpower is humility. All of them are needed for the world to function smoothly. Your superpower depends on your personality. It's not the other way around. Recognize this, recognize your potential, and work towards it. Listen carefully. No, just that. That's the sutra. Listen. This sutra gives immense importance to listening. If you do not have the time to listen, keep your eyes and ears open. When it comes to the corporate life and communication, always remember what the traffic signals also say. Stop, watch, and go. Make listening a habit. The more you listen, the better you will know good from evil. I'm not asking you to do what others do. Do what you think is right, but process the information you're receiving. Don't waste it. Think rationally. Apply logic, and once you're convinced what the correct path is, act accordingly. The next sutra from the book I found very useful is guard your money. If you take care of money, money will take care of you. You respect money, money will respect you. You disrespect money, and the safest way to keep your money with you is to earn properly. The second thing is to not get greedy. There's a difference between an investor and speculator. For more returns, don't get greedy. Remember, higher the return, higher the risk. Money problems can distract you completely. Take care of what you earn and try to save as much as you can. So till now, we have learned a few amazing lessons from Chanakya Neeti through the sutras. The sutras we have learned so far are educate yourself, know your superpower, listening is the most important virtue, and guarding your money. If 4 sutras can have such an impact on your life, imagine what life would be like if you read and implemented all of the other sutras. Whatever be your age and whatever be your situation in life, you will benefit by reading this book.